Good evening, one and all, and welcome to the Toon Review. Monday night, and a little bit of a different night for us to do the review, but, well, the situation really had to happen tonight because we couldn't do it over the weekend. People travelling, people unwell, etc. Danielle's not with us tonight. She's a little bit under the weather, so we send Danielle all our love and hope she gets better soon. But what a weekend. Newcastle United 5, Brentford 1. An absolute destruction of Brentford. So, you know, what a way to celebrate the anniversary. A perfect way, really. Lots of goals, a really good performance, and happy days. It was a good atmosphere around the ground, of course, before the game, knowing that, you know, the takeover anniversary celebrations were going on. Met some wonderful people again before the game who came over and said hello and got pictures taken, etc. So yeah, great weekend. We'll dive straight into it while Alex finishes his tee off. We'll go into some comments. We got Samsonite says, evening lads and lasses, just had the misfortune to hear Darren Bent saying we were gifted some goals by Brentford. Tosser. We got those goals because we press high and consistently. Anyway, ran over. Lee says, any transfer news? Absolutely not. We're not in the transfer window. Judy, 5-1 win, beautiful synergy on the pitch. Brucey sacked. All you lads looking healthy and positive. The future's bright, the future's black and white. Indeed. Spacebar, good evening, folks. Hope you're all well and had a great weekend. We certainly did. Apart from me walking into a door frame and basically having concussion. Spent the day on the sofa yesterday. Couldn't make the girls' game, which I was gutted about, but I really wasn't well. Hammered the head on the door frame, and it's just one of them things. Steve, good evening. Feels great to see our great city and club flying high. The team playing great football and enjoying themselves. Great result at the weekend, and bring on Man United. How are the lads? Louis, good evening. John was very hyper after the game. He certainly was. I think he'd been smoking something in the ground. Spacebar says, got to be honest, the comments from Bruno with regards to speaking to Real Madrid have me a little nervous. I wouldn't get nervous if you go through the whole thing. I mean, obviously, I did that video earlier on today regarding saying that he'd had a conversation with Real Madrid, but that's as much as it amounted to. We don't know what the conversation was about, but he did admit that he had spoken to them, but he wants to become a legend at Newcastle. I mean, what did you make of that, Billy?
I mean, when Real Madrid come calling, you're going to listen to them, aren't you? They're historically the biggest club in the world. I think the richest club in the world at this precise moment. Not ownership-wise, but with able to spend with the turnover kind of thing. You're going to listen to them, but Bruno's happy here. Bruno can see a project here, and Bruno thinks maybe we can match Real Madrid's achievements over the next 10, 20 years, and he wants to be a part of that. I wouldn't be worried about it either. But it's a compliment to him that the likes of Real Madrid are. I wanted to talk to him, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Well, I mean, look, it's the fact that he said that he knows what the project is at Newcastle United and he wants to be a part of it. I mean, you know, that's fantastic as far as I'm concerned. I like Coffee says, I feel Liverpool were robbed of a penalty, but seeing Klopp accusing Arteta of influencing the referees, I found it quite hypocritical. Absolutely pathetic from Jurgen Klopp. I mean, if that man, yes, probably should have had a penalty, but deal with it. Karma is a beautiful thing in life. And Jurgen, you got your karma yesterday after we had our goal disallowed at Anfield. So I didn't hear you complaining about that. You big-toothed monstrosity of a man. Alex, what did you make of it?
Well, precisely what you said is, you know, you can't. He wants to have his cake and eat it. It's just bore off. You can't have it both ways. We've had some shocking decisions go against us, and Liverpool have had a number of favourable decisions. And irrespective of their quite favourable decisions up to that point, they're still doing very poorly in the league. So imagine if they'd have had some of these calls actually done, like gone fairly, they'd be even further down the table.
Exactly.
They're just having a shocking start to the season so far. I would expect them to pull their socks up at some point, but
Luis Diaz is going to be missing out till after the World Cup with a knee injury, so that's another one of them down. And listen, hey, what can you say? These guys, selling Mane was a mistake, quite clearly, and a lot of people seem to have.
Well, I think he wanted to go, so I don't think there was much choice.
Well, he wanted to go, yeah, and I mean, but Salah's certainly not doing it for them. Whichever.
I mean, Luis Diaz has fallen foul of the trade curse. Unfortunately, I signed him last week for my team, and he's out now. So I've just done a load of transfers now. Got 4 points, but good.
Can you sign Anthony from Man United then, just so he doesn't?
That's good. Yeah, I thought of that. Might be too late.
Shove him, Billy. Shove him in. And of course, Alex, the news broke today that the inevitable at the Hawthorns happened. Mr. Bruce once again gets a massive payoff.
I mean, it should have happened 3, 4, 5 weeks ago. I mean, the style of football, I'm just going to list things that you guys have heard before from us in a different capacity anyway. It was a demoralized dressing room. It was poor football. They weren't unified. The trajectory was not there. It was toxic. It was rotten. They were bickering with fans, bickering with journalists. It just disgraceful. There is no way that guy should get another job. I mean, when he first went there, you could argue that the case when he left us, you could argue that maybe he was still good enough to manage a championship side. I was unsure whether he was. I thought maybe he could do something with a championship side. Clearly not, because he was given reasonably good tools. I know if Annie's in the chat, he'll slate me for it, because a lot of people, West Brom were in a bit of a mess when he took over. They were in playoff places, but they were in a bit of a rut. Didn't like their manager at the time, the previous guy. It went a bit awry. Mm-hmm. But even so, what he's done to them, I don't see how we would get another championship job unless he takes over from a newly promoted side from League One. Or takes over, or there's a dinosaur chairman willing to give him another chance, because his credentials now are pretty. How do you get another championship job after that?
I'd be staggered. I'd be staggered if someone gives him another job.
I'll tell you what I've noticed the past few weeks is Bristol City on a bit of a downward spiral.
Well, yeah, they are.
It would be poetic justice if they employed Steve Bruce, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Ian Fleming, thank you for your £5 super chat, buddy. He says, great result Saturday. Bruno a 10 out of 10. We'll do the player ratings at the end of the game. What did you make when you saw the lineup, Billy? Were you a bit surprised that there wasn't any changes?
I thought Joe Linton may have come back in, as I said in the show on Thursday. Yeah. But as you know, the rule of the manager generally is if you've got a winning team, you don't change it. And if it's not broke, don't fix it. And all those that played the previous Saturday deserved another chance, I thought. So I was totally unconcerned. I mean, we said, didn't we? What Eddie says, we'll trust, and I trusted it from the get-go on Saturday anyway.
We did start a bit slowly, didn't we, Alex? I mean, first 10 minutes, we looked a bit ropey. Well, first 10 minutes of each half, actually. Longstaff gave the ball away a couple of times in the first 10 minutes, and obviously that led to their disallowed goal. But my God, when we got going, we didn't half get going.
Yeah, I'm not really going to read too much into that. I think they were just feeling the game out slightly. Yeah, and Longstaff, he slipped. I'm not. It's frustrating, but it's hard to be really, really critical at him and be angry at him because he slipped. I said to you, didn't I, that we should maybe try and speak to a groundsman because they were watering that pitch and watering it.
Yeah,
and people were sliding all over the place. I'd love a proper groundsman to explain to me what the benefit of just absolutely soaking it. Surely it makes you slip. Maybe not. Maybe there's something I don't know about it. But once we got going, it was fine.
I think at the end of the day, I think Sean Longstaff, he's just not at the same pace as the rest of them around him. He gets the ball.
I mean, it's fair enough if he's not at Bruno's level, to be fair.
No. I mean, I know that, but he's just, I don't just mean mentally. I mean physically. He doesn't. He's not the athlete that we've got around them, and I think sometimes Sean will struggle with that, with the intensity that we play at. But you know what, he had to do a job on Saturday, and he did it. Look, he wasn't. I'm not saying he was poor or anything like that. I'm just saying he's. For me, I think Joe Linton is the better player to put in there, to be honest. But again, it's up to Eddie Howe. Jeanette Johnson, thank you for your £5 super chat, and nice to see you on Saturday. Hi, Paul, Alex, and Billy. Brilliant day meeting you and Alex. The game was brilliant. Bruce out, even better. Hi to Billy. You owe me a song.
And thank you for my birthday card as well.
I do indeed.
And I'd just like to say a big shout out to PD Proudlock as well. I'm not sure whether he's watching, but happy birthday, mate, for Saturday. I forgot to say it to you face to face when I saw you, but there you go. Spike, great to see you on Saturday as well. Hope you're had a great weekend after the game. I Like Coffee says Bruce needs to retire, though. So much money and payoffs from getting sacked. Yeah, but listen, he's gone, and I don't think he'll be back. Pork Pie, good evening to you. Evening, TTR hosts. Great result on Saturday. Onwards and upwards. Let's go and beat the Man U hypocrites on Sunday. Toon Dave says, evening all. Hope everyone's well. Looking forward to a great show after a fantastic result at the weekend. It really was. And the first goal, Billy, beautifully worked. I mean, you could tell that was, me and Alex were chatting at half time saying that was something from the training ground that we haven't seen before, because we had a bit of pressure on before that. And then obviously we take another corner and we go short, and everybody sighs thinking, oh, what are you going short for? The height we've got in the box. Miggy plays it back to Trippier, whips it in first time, back post. Bruno comes in, and he did well with the header because he headed it down. He got the skid of the surface. We're talking about the surface being heavily watered. I think that helped for our first goal because it hit the ground and flew past Rhea, who, to be fair to him, he got a finger on it. But just before that as well, made a cracking save from Miggy. We were gaining momentum up until that first goal, weren't we?
Yeah, and you'd think Thomas Frank would have done a little bit of homework on Newcastle and the set pieces. And once they saw Miggy there, they should have had an inkling in their head that it was going to be something different, a short corner. Yeah. Trippier's the man with the delivery. They weren't alert to it absolutely at all, were they? And a fantastic cross from Trippier first time, fantastic cross. Superb header. But yeah, I thought Brentford were a bit naive there. I thought they should have been a bit more alert to what was happening. And they weren't, and they all left him alone at the far post, and in his style, fantastic header. Great goal. Yeah, great goal.
Certainly did. Steve says, even all happy days, shame about the ladies' result. Yeah, they went out of the cup on penalties on Sunday afternoon, which was a bit disappointing. But they've got a chance for revenge straight away. They play the same team, Durham Cestria, on Wednesday night. So,
Forest are one up, by the way.
Oh, they're really? Oh, dear me.
Emmanuel Dennis, and it's the first time they've been in the Villa half after 15 minutes.
When did Forest sign Dennis? When did they sign him?
Towards the end of the transfer window.
They made that many. Really? I guess you lose count, don't you?
That's one. I mean, they signed that many. Christ, it's hard to keep up with them, to be honest. Kamal, good evening. Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful evening. Toon Dave says, how much did Cabbage get this time? God knows, but it's too much either way. Andrew, good evening to you. Geordie Metal, good evening. Peter says, evening, looking forward to this one. What a match that was as we oozed class. The second goal, Alex, was, you're Thomas Frank, you're Foreman, aren't you? You're going mental. But it was, again, our pressing that led to that goal because, it didn't look like Callum Wilson was going to pounce when he did, which probably made Ray think he had a little bit more time to play the ball. And he was just in like a flash. And what I really liked about Callum Wilson is his awareness where Jacob Murphy was. He didn't go for goal, which normally would say, we said the week before, Callum Wilson could have rolled it back to such and such, but instead he had a go. And then he had a beautiful little pull back. And Jacob Murphy, to be fair, didn't panic, took the goal very well.
Yeah, it was exceptional. And it's precisely the reason I'm not willing to rule players out. It's why I'm at the point where I will try and brave through and give people like Fraser, Murphy and Lascelles additional chances because of how good the coaching staff have been and in giving people instructions and improving individual players. Because that goal specifically started from Murphy starting a press and following the ball from the halfway line. He pressed all the way up. And then Wilson's just very, very intelligently positioned himself in between the two defenders to make the pass awkward if it came that way. It did come that way. He got the ball. And then, unlike the last couple of weeks where Murphy and Wilson have not been on the same page, they keep getting each other's wires crossed. They keep not passing to each other or passing too late. They were spot on, unselfish. They knew where each other were. And it's helped a lot. It was a very well worked goal. And if players like Murphy, we had Longstaff get an assist and a goal last week. We got the goal last week. We've got Murphy contributing significantly this week. If we can get these squad players that we are often critical of, if we can get squad players doing this, that's amazing. Because we're not going to have our big hitters all the time. There are going to be injuries. It's going to be tough. So if we can get these lads to step up, that's incredible. And as somebody pointed out, I know we've been really harsh with Murphy. He is a fan of the club himself, and it did mean a lot of that goal. So
you can tell what it meant to him.
It was a good performance.
I mean, he did have a decent game on Saturday, Jacob Murphy. Billy, he was, we've been very heavily critical of him, and rightly so, because his performances haven't been up to standard. We look back at the Tranmere game in the cup, and he had a big opportunity there, and he didn't take it for me. No. But, Fulham, I thought he did all right. And Saturday, obviously, grabbed a goal. He caused a lot of problems as well, and he was making some very good runs.
It all turned for him on the time when he went at Aaron Hickey on the outside and whipped that ball in a fantastic cross with his left foot. Once he'd done that, the confidence was up. He looked into a completely different player. And he was a threat every time he got the ball. Murphy, I thought, had a superb game. And his press on David Raya was the catalyst of that goal, because
it was,
he forced Raya out into that bad pass. Wilson was alive to it, nipped in, and like you say, squared it to a unmarked Jacob Murphy, and even he couldn't miss from there. 6 yards out with just a player in front of him. So good finish.
And that's what Eddie Howe wants as well. He wants to have a headache when it comes to picking the teams, because you're Jacob Murphy, and you've got a lot of very good players ahead of you. But you get your opportunity, you've got to take it. And for me, the last couple of games, he's taken it, and credit to him. I'm not saying by any stretch of the imagination that he's going to be the future or whatever, that is, but I'm saying for the here and now, if he's playing like that, he's a good option to have on the bench, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, the key one was Shelvey, wasn't it? Shelvey was probably the most talented of the old crop. And we knew he was going to be, he was told, look, we want you to stay, nurture people, stay while you can, as we're rebuilding this team and putting money into it. And we don't just want Shelvey. It would be nice if we can have players like Longstaff and Murphy growing and contributing to this, until the time comes. Because, we are looking at 40, 50, 60 million pound players for every position. That's what it seems to be at the moment. We are trying to get the odd bargain, but Botman, we were looking at Diaby, Isak was 60. We're looking at big prices. So ultimately, we are going to move on from these players at some point. But if they can contribute to this level, we're not going to be able to chop the squad overnight, as we've discussed. I mentioned this at the start of the summer. It's going to take 4 to 6 transfer windows, and people were not happy with me saying that, but it's how the club are doing it. So we're just going to have to put up with it.
Ashley Young for Villa.
Wow.
It's in with his walking stick.
David Cook says, Darren Bent thinks Miggy's our record signing. Knows nout. Well, he doesn't. And that just proves how much he doesn't know about Newcastle United, to be honest. Alex Smith, thank you for your £4.49 super chat. Hi, Paul and the guys. Shame Danielle isn't well. We'll miss her 20 out of 10 ratings. When is the match vlog coming? There isn't one, Alex, this week. I decided just to do my match reaction. And, sometimes it's, when you're there, you don't get time to speak to anybody because you're interviewing people all the time and things like that. So, they will be back, but I just wanted to sort of just chill for a couple hours before the game, chat to everybody, and it was really good. But as usual, I did my match reaction, and it is what it is. I was buzzing after that game, I have to say. Now, speaking of saltiness, there has been a great deal on social media since, of course, we won that game against Brentford. It seems to be getting worse, Alex. It's other teams, the Mackhams, they're always going to be jealous of us no matter what we do. But other teams down south, pundits are like, what the hell? The Saudi Arabia situation keeps cropping up and up and up all the time. And I heard I can't remember who. What? Oh, it was Gary Neville. Yes, Gary Neville coming out and saying, the owners should be taking responsibility to come and answer the questions that Eddie Howe's getting. This from a guy, by the way, who's just took a massive contract from Qatar.
Yeah, it's hypocrisy. We're just going to have to let it go, and just a lot of the fans. To be fair, a lot of our fans on social media are doing very, very well now. A lot of people are using facts. They're posting tables and data and article links and shutting things down and defending each other, and it's nice because social media can be very, very toxic. But a lot of them, we've got a few accounts with a lot of followers that are kind of at the forefront of social media that are defending a lot of us. And it's good, and rightly so. They're calling out these hypocritical pundits or hypocritical journalists. And it's going to happen. A lot of the teams down south that we've referenced, such as the Leicesters and the Aston Villas, Wolves even, have had awful starts to the season. Because we were expecting to be, when we did our start of the season predictions, we thought we were going to be battling around this sort of eighth-ish.
Yeah.
With people like Leicester and Wolves. That was generally the thought, and it's not happened like that. They've all tanked, and we've got a free hit essentially at trying to attack that top six. It's similarly to how West Ham did it last year. A lot of people started a bit wobbly, and West Ham just got a free run at just really grinding through the table. And we've got something similar now, where a lot of these teams we thought we would be competing with are just doing awful, and the fans are getting a bit bitter. Fair enough, but it's not our fault. We're just fans of our club. It will get worse, and we're going to have to put up with it, because ultimately, as we grow, every other club is going to be pushed down one position for pretty much every season to come, apart from the odd team like Man City and whoever's going to be up the top in the next few years.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like it's going to be Liverpool, but
no.
Yeah, it'll keep happening. We've just got to stay united and defend each other and be resolute and not drop ourselves in it, and don't stoop to their level either.
Absolutely. Billy, I feel like I'm playing a game of Give Us a Clue with you tonight. You're going like this, and then one syllable, two syllables, and then no syllables.
Village had another goal to allow for offside, Ollie Watkins, but he was offside, definitely.
Okay. AJ says, the fact that pundits are discussing Newcastle is testimony to the rise of Newcastle and the push towards success. Hateful journalists are so last year. It is, and look, it's always going to be the case where we are going to be badmouthed quite a lot, especially the more success that comes to Newcastle United. And after the game on Saturday, of course, everybody jumps on the bandwagon of Saudi Arabia, etc., etc. There are some very, very hypocritical reporters out there who have taken money from Qatar, yet slag us off for the Saudi Arabia situation. And to be honest, it's laughable. It is really laughable now. And, we are genuinely going to be hated by a lot of clubs now, because success is just going to come and come and come. And I mean, I can see you smiling there, Billy, because it's.
I'm smiling because of the Miguel Delaney thing on Sky Sports News yesterday.
Yeah. Did you see his face?
And now that he won the Hippo Sucking Lemon of the Year award, didn't he?
Yeah.
Christ,
yeah.
How bitter did he look? As the other journalist was really giving us credit and praise, Miguel Delaney was. He hates every goddamn second of it, and as I say, looked like a hippo sucking a lemon. Didn't look very happy at all, did he?
No, and rightly so, because he's just another one of these dickheads that doesn't know what he's talking about half the time. Mason says Liverpool could lose Henderson for what happened with him and Gabriel. That's a very interesting situation. Of course, the FA are now dealing with that. But there was a very interesting picture came up on social media actually of when that happened. And if you look at Firmino's face, Firmino is looking at Henderson as if to say, that's not right. You know what I mean? I don't know whether you guys got the impression when you looked at that photo as well, but something's clearly been said, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the FA, Alex.
Yeah, I saw the same still of Firmino looking a bit shocked. A lot of people in the comments were saying it was possibly nothing. It might have.
It may well be. It
could be him reacting to something he said, or it could just be a coincidence. But the fact they're investigating it, it's quite damning. It means they're probably going to find something.
I mean, it was interesting that Michael Oliver went to the managers, wasn't it? I mean, that's a bit bizarre.
Strange.
Because normally you talk to the two captains and then get on with the game, but he went to the managers.
Yeah, very, very odd. Considering he's the captain for Liverpool, You know, he went. They filmed him going and signing the book for the Queen's funeral and signing on behalf of Liverpool. And you know, he's meant to. He's older now. He's not a 22-year-old Sunderland winger. He's the Liverpool captain who's capped a lot at international level. And I don't know what he said or what he's done, but I mean, innocent until proven guilty. But obviously something's gone on, and he needs to conduct himself better than that.
The rumours are that he mentioned something about Thomas Partey's potential upcoming legal thing.
Yeah, I heard that as well. But again,
but the way Firmino's looking, I don't think it is that. I think it's more.
No, I mean, if it was something about that, I don't think Firmino would have been looking at him the way he was. But he genuinely did. And look, we know what photographs are like. It's 1 second. You know, when that camera clicks, it's you know, his facial expression could have changed the next second on. It just looked a bit, you know, as if to say he's looking at him thinking, that's disappointing, Hendo. You know what I mean? That's really disappointing. But you know, again, time will tell on that. Geordie Howayman says Bruno deservedly gets the plaudits, but Willick was immense in my opinion. Just needs a goal. I thought he was brilliant, me. And you know what it is? Again, you know, he gets a lot of hate, just Joe Willick. And again, I'll reiterate this. I think it's because of his body language. Sometimes people look at Joe Willick and think, oh, he just doesn't look in the mood. He's not asked. But I thought, you know, some of his touches on Saturday were magnificent. There was one in the first half where I think Miggy overhit a cross and he brought it down from head height with his foot and controlled it magnificently to get the ball back in the box again. And he had some good runs. He was passing it nicely. He was getting forward. And I think Willick's starting to get, you know, he's just building up momentum, Billy. And all he needs now is that goal, isn't it?
That piece of control, like you say, that was behind him and over his shoulder was unbelievable. It was Brazilian-esque, really was. And I thought he had an absolutely superb game Saturday. Didn't put a foot wrong. And I think the balance of the side with Longstaff in it suits Willick more. When Joe Linton comes in, the balance of the side isn't there. Bruno can't get forward so far. And it's strange. We want Joe Linton in the side, but it's finding a spot for him at the minute because I think the kind of, you know, the balance with these three at the minute is working superbly. And I know we all know Sean Longstaff isn't in the same class as Joe Linton, but the whole other three, they're working fantastically. It's going to be hard to leave Sean Longstaff out to bring Joe Linton in, but I think he will do. But it's soon everyone.
I think he's got to for Manchester United. I mean,
I think he's got to too. But it's just where do you put Joe Linton? Do you put him on the right and let Joe Willick stay on the left where he's floating around? I don't know. It's a conundrum for the manager. But
to be honest, that's a good point.
I think Joe can play anywhere in that midfield, guys. I honestly do. I think he can play anywhere. If Eddie asks him to do a job somewhere, he will go and do it. I mean, he came in on the left-hand side, his old position, left forward, and obviously created that fifth goal. I know it was an own goal, but it was a great ball in. And obviously the defender didn't realise Rea was right behind him. He didn't want to take a chance. He wanted to clear it, miss-hit it. I mean, Callum Wilson would have been proud of a finish like that, to be honest. But I think he can play anywhere, Joe Linton. I've got no problem with him playing anywhere in that midfield. And I feel against Manchester United, Joe Linton is the player that can really ruffle Bruno's feathers. I really do. And I think he'll and that will allow our Bruno a bit more freedom to get forward or to create opportunities. Alex,
you called him Bruno.
What?
No, you called their Bruno.
Their Bruno and our Bruno. So their Bruno tied up by Joe Linton.
And ours is Bruno. They don't get a Bruno.
I know, but you know what I mean.
Can I just point to, you mentioned the Joe Linton run and cross. I really just want to highlight that maxi pass, that through ball. That was disgusting. It was a through ball, and he put so much backspin on it. So the through ball was well hit, and it was a fast through ball, and it stopped before it went out of play. The technique on that. I know we're often critical of Maxi because he's overly good at his dribbly bits, but not. Sometimes lets him down on his decision making or his final product, whether it's the cross, the pass, or the through ball. But that technically was so impressive to get that ball to stop just before the touchline. I thought that was incredible.
But what about Bruno's little flick? What about that flick round the?
They were all doing it. That was a very Zidane kind of move, wasn't it,
man?
But Willick as well. They were all. You can see that they're enjoying their football. Having better quality players in training, they're all trying little dinks and flicks and the way they're controlling it. a few of the lads have definitely improved technically, and these are some lads that were here pre takeover. That it's definitely helping. The training sessions must be much better.
Jason says, did anyone have a bet at 5-1? Well, Danielle did. Well, not a bet, but she did predict 5-1, to be fair to her. In the
Nigel did. He had a 5.
Yeah, I seen that. Yeah, well, he had an accumulator, didn't he?
Yeah, and he was waiting on us to finish 5-1 to get 27.5 grand, and he did.
Jesus.
Unbelievable.
Super chats are available, Nige. Hey, yeah, don't forget, if you are enjoying tonight's show, guys, please do hit the like button. I think we've hit 14,500 subs, guys. Let me just check. Oh, we're one off. We're one away from 14,500, which is massive from where we were at the beginning of the weekend. So we are almost at that 14.5, and then on to 15. We just have to keep going, guys. So if you can, if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. It is completely free. And of course, that bell will notify you when we go live or we upload a video, which is practically every day of the week. V says, only lot claimed Steve Bruce now will be Greg's. Yeah, hopefully so. A lot of conversation about Bruno, but about Steve Bruce, but I don't really want to talk about him now. Ryan says, Anthony versus Dan Burn. Who do you guys think wins that battle? I don't think Dan Burn's going to play against Man United. If there was somebody not at 100% of the game on Saturday, it was definitely Dan Burn for me. A lot of passes going skew whiff. Listen, even he came out in his interview and said, especially the first half, I thought I was playing for Brentford. So at least he was honest. Not quite at his best. Spike Milligan, thank you for your 20 quid super chat, buddy. Celebrate a great weekend, and Bruce gets what he deserves. Absolutely. I mean, I don't know what it looked like to you, Billy, on the commentary, but Dan Burn normally he's quite I wouldn't say he's an accomplished passer, but so many passes from him on Saturday were going awry.
Yeah, it seemed like he had his boots in the wrong feet, didn't it, at times? I think Eddie Howe's picking him at left back against the sides that he considers to have a physical forward line. And when we play Manchester United, their threat obviously is coming from Anthony. I think Target will be back in for that. I think Target will be back in for that, especially if Max is going back in.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% convinced about that.
You're not?
No, I'm not. I think Target's not been as good as he was last season. He's been okay, but he's not been the same player. Not to say he's done bad. He's not done bad.
Would you be comfortable with Dan Burn going against Anthony?
No, not particularly. But I think they will plan for that. I'm at the stage now where I just trust the coaching staff to make the right decision. I think that they will set up appropriately. They know that will be a potential threat, and they will, make sure there's the wide cover in place with Joe Linton. Botman is there as a recovery run. Whoever he plays as a left winger might be given additional instructions. They will be very, very aware of this. It completely depends because it seems to be the way we like to play. Trippier will join the midfield. I mean, we'll see later when we do the average positions. But Trippier joined the midfield against Brentford, so we were playing effectively a wonky 3 at the back, and Burn kind of could stand there as kind of a semi centre back ish. And it kind of works. I agree. His passing was a bit off. He was 26 out of 38 passes, so only 68% pass accuracy. We want a bit more from him, really. I don't know if it's as simple as just Matt Target comes straight back in. I think they're doing this way. I think they're doing this for a system. They've got a funny lopsided system that allows Trippier to join the midfield. I think it's how they want to try and do it. I could be wrong, but we'll see. Either way, I think they'll make the right decision.
You're guaranteed that he'll be on it from today, won't he? He'll be prepping from today with Eddie Howe, and I guess we just have to wait and see. We are now over 14,500 subscribers, so thank you very, very much. It's up to the. Well, it's not a half century. I mean, what is it? A half. What's a half a thousand? I don't know what you call that. But we are there. So on the way to 15,000 now. That is the. That is where we're heading. So thank you very much, guys. Onwards and upwards.
On Dan Burn thing as well, you got to give him credit for Bruno's second goal because he was part of that press that took the ball off Aaron Hickey. He was deeply involved in that tackle that Bruno got the ball away from him. So I'll give him credit for that bit as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Steve says the groundsman would do that at Wimbledon in the days of the crazy gang, but the home players knew it. KB, good evening from a cold night in Belfast. Ross says the ball moves fast when the grass is wet. It does, but it also causes other problems, which clearly Longstaff was suffering with, and a couple of others actually took a few tumbles. Peter says, cheers, mate. 3 points was a perfect birthday present as well. Absolutely, it was. Hope you had a good night out when you went out as well, mate. Evening, lads. Water on the pitch makes the ball run faster along the ground. Graham says, can you imagine that if Bruce ended up at Middlesbrough? Yeah.
Steve Gibson ain't daft.
No.
Yeah, well, there's the theory that he's trying to get the set, isn't there? Because he's done Sunderland and Newcastle in the Northeast, and he wants Middlesbrough. And there's a theory. What else has he done? I think he's done
the
Villa, Birmingham, West Brom. He's basically he's trying to
complete that set of the Black Country teams.
He's got literally sets of all the regions. It's a joke.
Wolves is Black Country. Is it Black Country, Billy? Is Wolves?
Yes. They're like rivals with West Brom and Birmingham and Aston Villa.
Well, Wolves and West Brom are very close together, aren't they?
They hate each other. Wolves are the Dingles, according to West Brom, and they call them. I don't know what they call them, but they've got a name for them as well.
Yeah. John Betts, thank you very much for your £5 super chat, mate. Evening, lads, was up for the game at the weekend and was great to meet you before the match, Paul, and what a result. Indeed, John, nice to meet you. And cracking result. I think everybody was pretty positive going into the game. Listen, our centre-backs, right? You know, Botman just oozes class. The man just oozes class. And the fact that he can pass with both feet. But those two, Billy, look just rock solid Saturday.
They had a bit of a shaky spell early doors, but after that, I mean, Botman was absolutely magnificent again. You know, just reads the game so well. You know, he just seems to know where the ball's going every single time. And once he gets the ball, you know, one time he went legging it down the wing with it, didn't he? It's a fantastic bit of play to take it away from their attacker. And then off he went down the line. He's a Rolls Royce of a centre half. He really is.
He's going to be some player.
22 years of age. It's scary to think what he's going to be like in 4 or 5 years, isn't it?
Absolutely. Our future captain, do you reckon?
100%.
Yeah, I think so. His
Holland
statistics are outrageous as well.
Julie says, Alex, lovely to meet you finally. I hope you and your partner had a great rest of your time in the Toon. Yeah, what did she think of the game, Alex?
Yeah, she thought it was incredible. I think she was very taken aback by just how passionate and how noisy it was. Because she's been to a lot of grounds in Poland where, you know, 30, 40,000 capacity, but they'll get 5,000 at the match. So it's very empty stadiums. Some of the clubs get full attendances, but not the ones we went to. So to go to a 52k stadium and it's completely packed, there's the passion, all the fans are on the same wavelength. You know, and some of the games we've been to, we all noticed a lot of them in Poland. It's one of these kinds of stadiums where everybody's got their phone out when there's set pieces or anything going on. They've always got their phones out.
So it's a bit like the Etihad or Old Trafford, basically.
Yeah. Whereas at St James's Park, everybody is watching. Yeah. And they will react to a refereeing decision, a shirt pull, a good bit of skill, and the whole crowd will ooh and ah and cheer, and it's all in unison, and it's just different in a magnificent way. Yeah. Unfortunately, we've set the standard a bit high now because the first game she's been to was a 5-1 smashing. So,
and of course, your winning record or your unbeaten record continues.
It is.
It's a
I'm
bizarre
yet to see us lose in person.
Yeah, crazy.
So, long may it continue.
Ian says, did any of you guys hear what Gabby or Bonlahor said on TalkSpout about us not being a big... Yeah, look, he's a bellend. Simple as that. He's an absolute bellend. Brian says, Paul, I'm disappointed you give shout-outs for everyone's birthday, but mine, though it might have helped if I told you when it was. Absolutely, Brian. I'm not Mr. Goddamn Meg. Ryan says, Man United were not great yesterday. Both teams couldn't keep the ball at all. All it took was a through ball passed on the slowest defenders in Cody to score. Yeah. Can you believe the game is not on TV, considering Man United and Sky love each other? I'll see it, but Villa versus Chelsea, really. Well, you can get the commentary right here with myself on Sunday. Really looking forward to doing that, actually. It should be a good game. Jordy Howieman says McTominay got himself suspended for our game. So pleased as he could seriously injure one of our players. Yeah, he's not the best tackler in the world, is McTominay. Crispy says Miggy's turnaround from enthusiastic but lacking the final product to all-round mint player is amazing. It is incredible, Alex, the fact that, he was up for the game. You could tell he was all over that pitch, especially in the first half. He was just everywhere and causing all sorts of havoc for the Brentford back line. And that shot that Ray made a brilliant save on, I mean, that was destined for the goal. There was no doubt about that. I was right behind it. It was a great save, but the confidence from Miggy to do that, how many times have you seen Miggy cutting in like that and shooting and it ends up at the corner flag? But he's just so on the ball at the minute.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it started against Chelsea at the end of last season where he tried to hit that left-footed volley.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'd been out for a few matches, whether it was injury or whether it was just not had a run in the team. And he got subbed on late against Chelsea and he hit that left-footed volley on target. It didn't go in, but it was a bloody good shot. Ever since then, it's just been an upward trajectory for his shots are so much better. I wouldn't, even if he hadn't have scored, I wouldn't have minded because you can see the performances are there.
Mm-hmm.
The final product is there. That shot is testament to that. He's hungry. He's playing in other players. His press is ferocious, and he's hitting the target. And there's some good quality strikes in there. He will miss fire on some. There will be. He's a winger. He's not going to score every game.
Mm-hmm.
But if he peppers the goal like that, and it could provide situations for other players. If he drives in left and has a couple of shots on target, the third time he does that, the keeper might expect the shot and he might do something else with it. It might open up the game for another player to score.
Yeah.
It's just incredible. Is all this talk about we have to sign Diaby, we had to sign a right winger. We're not gonna do the top 10 push, top 8 push without a right winger. Yeah, it would have helped, but Miggy's definitely he's got the right tools.
Well, he's stepping up to the plate, isn't he? And that's all we can ask of him, to step up and do the job. And we were worried about it earlier on in the season. And credit to Miggy. He's obviously Eddie Howe's working with him. He must be, because Miggy's adding things to his game that he didn't have.
Yeah,
or maybe he did have. He just wasn't showing it on the pitch. And maybe Eddie has given that confidence to him, Billy, on a daily basis in training. And we're seeing now that it come to fruition on the pitch.
Yeah, I saw something Saturday that he'd not done before. Rico Henry showed him the outside and he took it and he went around the outside and Rico Henry.
Yep.
We weren't expecting it, and nor was he. And after that, Rico Henry didn't have a clue where to defend him. Not send him wide, not send him let him go inside. Rico Henry was, he's a good player, but he was stuck in the final third of the field virtually the whole game, apart from the 10 minutes at the beginning of the second half. And that was down to Miggy, and he was shit scared of Miggy. Miggy had him on toast.
I think the whole Brentford back line was shit scared of Miggy on Saturday. I really do, because he was coming left, he was going right, he was tracking back. The guy has just got so much enthusiasm, and all we've wanted is to see that enthusiasm turned into a product, and it is getting there now. And it's all now for Miggy. It's about consistency now. It's getting that consistency and keeping it, because he's shown us what he can do and how good he is. Yeah. And this is his opportunity now to shine, because, Isak obviously is going to come back to fitness, but I don't think Isak walks back into that team. I don't know what you guys think. I don't think he walks straight back in.
You can't drop Miggy. Absolutely no way. He's so important to our system. And he's scoring. Like, if you think about his recent form, if you go back before the season, it's what? The goal against Palace, 6 goals in pre-season, 4 goals already this season. If you take this little cluster of when he got back into the team, he's been immense. He's been absolutely immense. That's 11 goals since. If you start at Palace, that's 11 goals. Fair enough. Pre-season goals are pre-season goals. Some of them are against considerably easier teams. Some of them aren't. But he's finding the net consistently, across 2 different seasons and in the summer. His form's brilliant. This has been there for all to see. And this is why I was defending him so hard at the start of the season and suggesting Miggy is better than people are giving him credit for, and he's so important to the way we play. You've got to give players time. And look at what's happening to Murphy as well. Murphy looked like he understood the system a little bit more in recent weeks. Whereas, a few months ago, he was doing some good counter-attacks and we were getting some nice moves from him. But the last few games, it looks like he's understanding our system more.
Yeah.
He's contributing to the press in a proper way. And, maybe we've just got to give some of these lads a bit more time. Transitions, they take a while for, and some, we're playing at the highest level and we're trying to knock on the door of European football at the moment. So
indeed.
It is working.
John Joe, thank you very much for your £4.49 super chat. He apologised that he didn't make the anniversary show on Friday night, but what a result of the weekend indeed, my friend, indeed. Francisco, good evening. Hello, gents, chatting mods, late but here, massive weekend. Hope you all had a great one. And Alex, mi hermano. Hey, did you see what I did there, Alex? Did you see it? I hope
Very
you and
nice.
your lady had a wonderful birthday weekend. Lee says, I'm hearing Memphis Depay could be happening. Well, listen, we've been hearing that for a while. But Steve says, I think since we got caught out with a quick corner by Man City, Eddie has looked at corners and they're set up and sometimes quick. That was definitely a training goal. There's no doubt about it. That was. I
tell you what, we do have to talk about that slightly because we were whinging about not scoring corners, and
Indeed.
rightly so. We were fairly whinging because we sucked at corners because it was every corner was sling it to Dan Burn at the back post, try and drag it back across goal, and it just wasn't working. It worked last season, and now it's not working anymore. And I think we had, I think I had it up earlier. I think we had some of the most corners in the league. We're right up there for corners in the league.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see them working hard on the train. I mean, to be fair, we've seen it for a few weeks. They've tried a few different corner routines with Joe Linton taking a quick corner one last time. And thank God it's worked.
Yeah, definitely. V says, I'm so happy for Miggy. He's really showing his mettle recently. Mark says he wouldn't have Depay. We need to go all in and sign Maddison. I think Maddison's going to want out of Leicester. I really do. Things are not good down there at all.
Do they go in January? The problem is now that they're in a tricky spot now because if anything, this is making it harder for us, I think, because if they let Tielemans or Maddison go or both, then they are basically saying we're relegated, I think.
But also, Alex, if they are having financial trouble, like we led to believe that all the finances
they sold
aren't
Fofana,
great,
didn't they? So I don't think they have to necessarily immediately sell. But
listen, January's going to be very interesting. Whatever,
I wouldn't mind Leicester getting a few points.
Interesting.
I wouldn't mind Leicester getting enough points to just get out the relegation zone, and then they might be more willing to sell to us. But I think if they're rock bottom going into the window, they might not let any players go because they want to try and claw it back. And it depends. It depends if they sack Rodgers as well. Depends who their manager's going to be.
They can't afford to, apparently.
Oh dear.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I'm hearing as well. That they can't afford to pay Rodgers off. Now, if that's the case, that would say to me that the finances aren't great down there at the minute. Therefore, they may not be able.
Fofana money had changed it, but obviously maybe.
Well, I think it helped.
It
definitely helped. And according to Chris at Leicester Till I Die TV, who's a friend of the show, he was saying when he was last on that Fofana will cover a few of the financial issues, but not everything. And I think we've heard rumours that the club's for sale, etc. It may be a case in January that they simply cannot turn the offer down because they need the money. But it's going to be very, very interesting come January what happens. Magpie says, I wasn't sure about Dan Burn. He made a few mistakes. Target should play at left back. Gary says, if Villa get beat, Gerrard could be out the door. Great show, guys. I Like Coffee says, I think the last time we won at Old Trafford is 2013. I fancy us to win 3-1. I was there that day. Kabai, Bush, bottom corner. Get on! Limbs in the corner of Old Trafford that day.
First time we'd won there since the week after we lost to Hereford in the cup.
Yes, but
that was when Phil Jones scored an own goal with a header, didn't he? He tried to head it back to De Gea and it just went past him.
I think that was at Old Trafford. That was at St James's. That
was.
I think.
Game.
I'm thoroughly looking forward to the game. I really am because I think we can do them.
This is the most prepared we've been to play them in a decade. Over a decade.
Without a doubt. Steve says the corner was great right in front of us and we were confused. Why the hell is Miggy taking the corner? What's Trippier doing up there? Shows how little we know about football.
I said the same thing, to be fair.
Yeah.
I saw Miggy walking up. I was like, what? Miggy's taking this? All right, let's have a look. It did shock me
Darren
as well.
says if we have a fully fit squad, where would you play Isak? Well, at the minute, those front three, I mean, obviously, I think ASM comes in, but you can't drop Miggy. I don't think he gets in. I think he's on the bench at the minute. Now, what I did hear was a few little grumblings about Callum Wilson and his performance on Saturday that wasn't really great. I think he did a lot of pressing. Listen, I don't think he was superb in that game. I think he played well. But I don't think he was any. Listen, what you get with Callum Wilson, Billy, is always a threat. He's on the shoulder. He's a very what Callum Wilson does off the ball is very important as well. And I think a lot of people watching on TV don't get to see because he's very physical with especially the centre backs. He's at them all the time. Even the goal kicks, he's at them whether he wins the ball or not. He's very, very physical, and I think. Take that out of our game, it kind of just gives the centre-backs an easy ride. He doesn't. He's on them all the time.
Yeah, that's him all over. I mean, I noticed Saturday that he was kind of standing on the goalkeeper when he was trying to take goal kicks. He was hassling every centre-half, all three of them at times. That's Callum Wilson all over. And the ball didn't really fall to him in a scoring kind of position, did it? But apart from maybe once where he went for a shot, it was blocked. Maybe he should have passed then, but he learned from it, and he set Wilson Murphy up for his goal. So, I don't think he was bad at all. I thought he was okay, Callum Wilson. Obviously, compared to the likes of Murphy and Miggy, he wasn't up to their standards. But that's because they've got goals and they've had the chances to score. That's the only reason why.
I've not heard anybody diss his performance. I thought,
by all accounts, Jason Tyndall had a go at him. I read in a report that I've
seen a couple of things on Twitter from a few Newcastle fans. But look. Callum Wilson is there to score goals. I don't think he's there to take players on and dribble and all that kind of stuff. Callum Wilson is our hit man, basically. And he know what strikers are like.
Work ball, though.
Yeah, but look at Haaland. When Haaland played up here for Man City, he did nothing the first half, and then suddenly, poof, he comes alive for that 10-minute spell where they got the 2 goals.
Yeah,
and then he went quiet again. But that is what a striker is. Alan Shearer was like that.
But Callum Wilson was doing what people think Chris Wood does. He was occupying centre-backs and making runs and being annoying and creating space for other people and manipulating the forward line and bending runs. People say Chris Wood does that. He doesn't nowhere near. No,
that's a good point you make, Alex, because a lot of people don't see that, mate. Is the runs he makes to free up space. You look at when the break was on for Bruno's second goal on Saturday.
Yeah.
When Bruno was breaking forward, Wilson was darting down the channel, pulling the defenders with him, and that gave Bruno the space to run into and hammer the shot into the net. People don't tend to see that.
This is one of the good things about being in the stadium sometimes, about going to matches semi-often, is you see more. On TV, it depends where the ball is and what the camera's decided to focus on at that point. But sometimes you miss people making, like strikers, you'll miss them bending a run or drawing a player a certain direction. And Wilson does a lot of that. You've just got to watch for it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think, Billy, when you're commentating as well and you're watching the game, you look at certainly that second goal for Bruno. It was like a parting of the sea because we won the ball back brilliantly. And listen, I want to say hats off to the referee for that, mind, because, there was a scuffle on the floor to win the ball. He didn't bottle it. He didn't blow his whistle. He didn't see a foul. Therefore, play continued. And hats off to him for that. And then when Bruno breaks forward, that is when Wilson comes alive. He makes a run, takes the centre back with him, creates space for Bruno to run into. Bruno's then 20 yards out. He thinks, right, I'm going to smash this straight at the bottom of the net.
Yeah, it was good refereeing. And I thought we had a really good game, the ref, to be fair. I was criticised him a couple of times, but generally I thought it was the best referee we've had.
I thought he did well, yeah.
But yeah, Callum Wilson, like you say, came alive. He took 2 defenders away from where Bruno shot from. He almost got away the shot, in fact. But yeah, just good, great centre forward, plays intelligent enough to make these runs. Chris Wood wouldn't have. Chris Wood would have just stood there.
Absolutely. Guys, we've got over 800 watching tonight, which is absolutely fantastic. It's nice to have the viewing figures up again. It really is. So glad you're spending your Monday evening with us. If you are enjoying the show, please do hit that like button. It helps us massively, guys. You have no idea So please do hit the like button. And if you're new to the channel and you like what you see, like so many people already have done today, please hit that subscribe button. It is completely free. And also the notification bell, which will let you know when we go live or we upload a video, which is practically every day. You can become a member of the Toon Review as well if you'd like to be a member and in with a chance of winning shirts and all sorts of stuff. Just hit the join button just underneath the video. And we also have super chats available. So many wonderful people have already done tonight. If you want to donate to the show, hit that $sign at the bottom of the live comments and it'll take you through that way. And we also have merchandise, guys. And this is where you can find it.
So let's get down to business.
I've been waiting, think I wanna make that move now. Baby, tell me if you like it. Tell me if you like it now. I've been waiting, think I'm gonna make that move now. Baby, tell me how you like it.
Let's get down to business.
So there you go, guys, the toonreview.co.uk. And Susan has come up with a little something today. She's brought a camel back, not a live camel, by the way, a teddy bear camel back from her shop today. And she's come up with an idea of making a black and white one with the Toon Review logo on it. So that might be quite cool, certainly, to have a little sort of homage to our owners and everything, and have some nice cuddly camels in your house. But we'll see what happens with that. Alex, you look really impressed with that. Listen, you had a cuddly sheep in your old house, so there's nothing wrong with having a cuddly camel. It won't. They're nowhere near as big as the sheep, by the way. But you know, that's just the way the cookie crumbles. Right, you've got some graphics for us, Stato.
I have indeed. So these are our average positions. So this is kind of what I was talking about with the having Burn as a left back. We're kind of playing a wonky system. Yeah. So this average positions will give you a much better indication as to your shape on the ball than just looking at a formation. So you can see here that there's a clear intent to get Trippier into midfield. Sat next to Longstaff, Bruno just central all day long. Mm-hmm. I was watching the James Lawrence Oldcut channel earlier, and he was saying, "Why the hell did Brentford not have a defensive midfielder or anybody on Bruno?" And I agree. Bruno just got complete free reign, and when anybody went in, they went in quite lazily or slow. And Bruno was just turning everybody inside out.
Can I just ask, Alice, is that Brentford's
no, it's not. Positions? I've just moved. I've shunted them out the way.
It's not far off
them back into their box. But it's probably close to their average positions, yeah. But you can see, interestingly, we've got Miggy very, very high up, and Murphy. We've actually sort of playing, because we didn't used to play that way. Especially we had so many games with Wood last year. It tended the 9 always tended to be much higher up and as kind of a spearhead. But the way we're playing at the moment, Wilson tends to be a little bit deeper. And our wingers are really flourishing. You know, Maxi was brilliant for 2 or 3 games before he got injured. Yeah. Murphy's improving, Miggy's improving, and our wingers are always so high up. Slightly newer role for Willick, because we're so used to seeing Willick on the right side of that midfield and Joe on the left and Joe Linton. So to see Willick left side, he's doing a lot of floating. I agree with everybody. I think he's unfortunate he's not had a goal. I think he's improving. He's definitely looks comfortable kind of wherever he is at the moment, which is nice. So good average position. So you can see it is kind of a back three. In theory, it's just a little bit wonky because of where Trippier is. But that's, you know, Longstaff was trying to do his defensive duties, and Miggy grafts and gets back. So in terms of stats, I think it's probably worth having. Well, let's have a look at the Magic Man. Why not? I can't, for some reason, I can't make this bigger anymore. They've got rid of the feature where I can. So I'm just going to have to zoom into the corner. I don't know why they've changed it on SofaScore. That's a shame. So this is Bruno's heat map. Wow, again, I tweeted SofaScore and said, you know, you might as well just color in the whole thing because he's absolutely everywhere. And if we scroll down, 2 goals, 70 touches, everything's going through him. That is a lot of touches. 2 key passes. That's a lot of accurate passes considering he was trying to constantly play very dangerous ones. 2 long balls, 2 shots on target, successful dribble, 6 out of 9 ground duels. He's always done this ever since he signed. Mm-hmm. He's just a little terrier on the ball. He just constantly nibbling at people, winning the ball back. He reads the game so well. Managed to draw a foul. I don't think it'll let me scroll down anymore for some reason. So just incredible stuff from Bruno. And I would like to have a little look, if it lets me scroll over, at Sven, the robot himself. Lovely heat map from him as well. You can see exactly what the average positions really do mirror kind of what you're seeing here as well. Just standing centrally, spraying balls about. And statistically, he was just an anomaly. He's a freak. 4 tackles, 3 clearances, a block. His duels as well. He's still young and he's just winning all of his duels. 5 out of 6 on the ground, 4 out of 8 in the air. Just a machine. Drew a foul as well. So tidy. 60 touches, 42 out of 48 passes. Really tidy on the ball. Contributed with a couple of long balls as well. Just super clean. And if we go and have a look at our funny XG on FOTMob, we didn't actually get that much XG. Obviously, the own goal scored by Brentford didn't credit us with any XG at all.
Yeah.
The Bruno header was quite a low value chance. You don't normally score them. So we didn't get a lot of that XG value. We just scored some really good goals, to be fair, which is why the XG is quite low. But we did deserve them. Possession-wise, obviously, to be expected, we did manage to out-possession them. And here are the shots. So Bruno shot all the way back here, credited with a 0.03 XG. So you don't score many of them. It is a good strike. Most people do not score them. 3 out of 100 of them go in from that position. So he's done very, very well. His header this is his header. So header from corner. Again, given a really low value to score that, 0.05, but he managed it anyway. It was from quite far out. To be fair, I do think the goalkeeper could have possibly done a little bit better. I
just think it was a skid off the turf, Alex, if I'm honest, because where I was sitting, it seemed to take quite a, he headed it. I don't think he actually, when he headed the ball, I think it hit him more towards the bridge of his nose and forehead rather than get a real meaty contact on it.
I just think the keeper could have done better. Even with Bruno's longer shot, when he took that hit, I wasn't expecting it to go in. I thought the keeper could have done better on a couple of situations.
It didn't go right in the corner, did it?
No, it wasn't super in the corner. But, I mean, that's great for us, I guess.
Yeah, quite frankly, I don't give a shit.
Miggy's goal was the highest XG value, and it should be. He was pretty much one-on-one, but he grinded that chance out himself with the press. And then
on Miggy's goal as well, Alex, right? On Miggy's goal there, when he nicked that ball off the goalkeeper, right? He didn't. When we've seen Miggy in the box like that, I know he was one-on-one with the keeper, but sometimes he panics. Or he's panicked in the past and made a mess of it and just looked at the heavens with a big smile on his face. But he kept his composure there. And that's what I loved about that goal. He went round rear, kept his composure and just smacked it in the back of the net. And that, to me, is a player with confidence.
Yeah, he's removed. He doesn't look as erratic anymore, does he? Mm-hmm. He's kept the energy, but it looks far more focused. It's the focused energy. It's not erratic. He looks a lot more confident for sure. And then that was the own goal, obviously. We don't get any XG for that, but it's irrelevant. We scored 5 goals. It was a very, very good game. 9 corners. A lot of shots, 16 shots. We got the more of the big chances, and we thoroughly deserved to win. I think maybe 5 does flatter us slightly, but that's their own fault. People saying some of them were soft goals, but it was because of our pressing. Some of those goals, the Murphy goal and the Miggy goal, that's 2 goals that have come from the high press. If we're playing in a low block, we don't score those 2 goals. Mm-hmm. Those specifically come from the system.
Yeah, I'd like just to say, I think Rhea, the Brentford keeper, is a fantastic goalkeeper, by the way. He just had a real off day on Saturday. He is a really good keeper. And look, we caught him on an off day, which again, was to our advantage, no doubt about that. But listen, you're right. We pressed them. We didn't give them any time, especially when they were trying to pass it around the defense. We were just on them straight away. How many times did we, deflect the ball out for a throw in because we were closing them down? It was just an all-round fantastic effort from the guys. And you know what? He's got them playing, Eddie. He really has. And he said when we were going through those runs of draws, Billy said, we will come good. It is just be patient. and it's again, it's come to fruition.
Yeah, I do think we have more kind of results when we play a side that don't sit back behind the ball. And Brentford didn't do that either, and they come apart because of it. I think what we will see in the future is teams that will come and park the bus, and that's when we'll see our true metal. If we can start breaking these teams down that put 11 men behind the ball, then you'll know if we're advancing into a big European spot. Because we've struggled with that this season so far. Bournemouth and Palace, two that I can think of off the top of my head, where we couldn't break them down. But
I think that was because we were missing key players, though.
Yeah,
I
very
think
likely, very likely.
With Botman and Bruno and stuff in those games, I think we win those games.
Interesting. Steve says, if I had to choose, it's Man United I hate the most. Heavy competition, but the whole United thing pisses me off. Another Steve says, I think Man United will be more worried about us, and we need to play our normal game. Absolutely. I think if we just play our normal game, then I'm not worried. I'm really, and I've heard a lot of people say this, that they're just not worried about going to Old Trafford. Whereas in the past, it's like, oh God, but it's different now, Alex.
It's very toxic there, isn't it? So if we can get one of those funny pressing goals early on, if we can do what we're good at, they won't like it. We're very capable. I think they have got strong players now, with Casemiro coming in and Anthony, they've improved their squad somewhat. Their centre-backs are much more competent than the other ones they had. But if we can go there and be aggressive and maybe have a bit more possession than they want and be annoying in the press, we can rattle them slightly. I think if the crowd start to get on their back, this is all to play for. I think it's going to be harder for them than it is us. I don't like using the term free hit, but it is a free hit. We play our game. We go there and be aggressive and just try and annoy them. We know we're good. We know we've got quality. And if we can get their fans on their back and they start, we talk about mentality monsters. They're the opposite. They crumble. They get nervous. They make mistakes. And I think with our high intensity game, it's definitely there for the taking. We might not win, but they're not going to be looking forward to this game at all.
No, I think we'll be right up for it from the start, to be honest. And I don't, as well, you've got to think that Man United, like you said, Alex, if we go out there early doors and we create problems and we get a goal first, the confidence at Man United isn't going to be great. And I'm a lot more confident now of holding on to a lead than I have been in previous seasons because of who we've got in defence now.
Yeah, if we score early doors, I mean, it makes Man United come out even further at us, and that'll set us up for more chances, I'm sure. And I honestly, if we were to score early, I could see it being a big win for us. I really can. I'm glad Luke Shaw's back in the side because I think Miggy will have more success against him than he would have done against Malacia. But he's come back in the side. And
he was terrible yesterday. He was bloody awful.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, but he seems to have his place back now, doesn't he? So hopefully he stays in for next week because I think Miggy will tear him to pieces.
Absolutely. John says Eddie on Tyneside Life was interviewing Brentford fans as they left the ground. Yeah, I saw that. They said the Newcastle fans were quiet. I think they must have had earplugs in. Look, sometimes when you're up in the gods like that, it takes away the atmosphere of what's going on below. Certainly when I've been in level 7 at times, it's been a bit weird because the height you're at. There was a couple of Brentford fans said that, and a few others said that the love come to Newcastle because of the friendly atmosphere and everything that they're shown and the respect.
Look, when you just come out of a ground where you've been hulked 5-1, the last thing you want to do is be praising the home fans. You're going to be pissed off at everything, aren't you? Let's be honest. Yeah,
absolutely. Right, it is time for the player ratings. Now, because Danielle isn't here tonight, we're going to all rate the players. So instead of going round, we're going to rate them each. So, Billy, we'll start with you, and we'll start with Nick Pope.
Right, I thought it looked distinctly uncomfortable on Saturday.
Really?
Yes, I do. That goal that was given that was offside, straight at him, off his knee into the goal. I thought, Christ, good job it was offside because that was a horrendous effort. Couple of good saves, but even they were one of them was a good parry, but one of them went kind of dangerously close to one of their players also. I'm going to give him a 6 because I thought his distribution wasn't great either.
Interesting. Alex?
It's hard to disagree with what he's just said, to be fair. I think that save in the second half was needed. I think that gave him confidence.
Yes.
I can't go. I can't really go any higher than a 6, to be honest. He made it. He came out of his box a couple of times and made some good, good stops. I think it's one of those where I want to give a 6.5, but I can't. I think 7's a bit too high. I think it's partly because we were so dominant and he didn't have as much to do, and partly just his confidence a little bit down at the moment.
I agree.
I think he'll be all right. He definitely looked better towards the end of the game.
Yes.
After he made a couple of good saves, he looked a lot more confident. So, yeah.
But the offside goal,
interesting.
Christ, he was awful for that. That was horrendous goalkeeping. Really was. Luckily, he was offside, but had it not been, right at him. Right at him, on his knee into the goal.
See, what would you have given him if you hadn't have heard us say those things first?
Well, I was giving him a 7, and I'm going to stick with a 7. I was never looking at Nick Pope and thinking I was never worried about him. If I'm worried about a goalkeeper, then but I thought he made some good saves. He commanded his box for me perfectly fine. I didn't see anything wrong with it. His distribution could have been a bit better. I do agree with you on that. But listen, 6 or 7, it's here and there, is it? So we'll go with you guys. So he gets a 6. Foxy says very sad news about Enek Mwepu having to retire. It was a really promising player at Brighton, only 24 as well. Really sad, Foxy, actually. You see players of that age at 24 suffering. But what you have to be thankful for is they've actually found it, because we certainly don't want another situation like Christian Eriksen. And yes, it's really sad that he has to retire from football. But hopefully, Brighton will help him, or he can stay in football somehow with the club, maybe in a coaching role or something like that. I'm sure Brighton will help him find something. So really sad, but pleased to have found the problem, because we certainly don't want another issue like Christian Eriksen again. Right, we'll move to right back, and I'll go first with Kieran Trippier. I thought Trips was absolutely fantastic on Saturday, not just with the football, but his leadership. Alex, I don't know whether you got a good view of him. Really, really vocal. Even when he wasn't on the ball, he was vocal. Yeah. He was a proper captain for me. And he gets a 9 for me. I thought he was outstanding. Alex?
Yeah, I think his overall performance I might have given an 8 for, but I think when you throw in how he performed as a captain and just as an experienced player, I think it bumps it up to a 9, definitely. 3 key passes, he got the assist, and then he was, like you said, moving into midfield. So there was a couple of times where the lads were a bit slow, they're a bit out of position, and he's shouting at people, he's moving them left, right, trying to get them into pass, making themselves available for passes. He was just barking instructions. He was very, very good. He was harassing the referee in the sportsman in a nice way, not in a bad way, but he was just doing everything correctly.
It was funny when the referee was looking at the screen for the first offside.
He was watching
Trippier knew. He was pointing,
like,
saying offside, and he was aware. He knew.
I've got
Billy?
him 9.
Yeah, I'll definitely 9 out of 10. I thought it was absolutely superb Saturday. And he has lost a yard or two of pace, but days like Saturday doesn't matter, because he knows he's another one that reads the game perfectly. He knows exactly where to be. He knows exactly when to put a foot in and when not to. And his passing's fantastic. He gets us on the front foot all of the time, really. He's a fantastic captain. He leads by example every week. He's a proper professional. The man's a genius.
And I think he's making Fabian Schär better as well.
Yeah, totally
Fabian
agree.
Schär does go to sleep sometimes.
Yes.
And I think Trippier is helping.
He does that.
Keep him
isn't that just part of who Fabian Schär is? He really does make you panic at times, and then he lost the ball a couple of times in dangerous positions on Saturday, but 2 seconds later he's won it back. And he's that kind of, oh my god, brilliant tackle, and wins it back and creates an attack. He's bizarre, but I love Fabian Schär. I think he's awesome. Right, well, Dan Byrne now, Alex. We'll start with you.
Ooh. Oh god, that's a tricky one. I'm gonna give him a 6.
Okay.
I feel like the passing wasn't good enough, and he gave away the penalty. Although I need to watch the angles I've seen of that handball. I'm not so sure that touched his arm from the angle I've seen. I'm a bit confused as to whether it even touched his arm.
Well,
or
I
hand.
It did.
I saw it
It
straight
did
away,
it?
and I said handball straight away.
Okay.
I knew it was a
I've seen
penalty.
it from a certain angle then. But yeah, I mean, it helped him playing the way he did, helped with our whole system and shape. It helped with the way we were able to play, which is so
Well, somebody
important.
commented earlier in
But-
the chat that Dan Burn playing at left back enables Trippier to push further forward, because if
Yes.
Trippier gets caught out, Burn moves across to, and we got 3 centre backs there.
Yeah. So it works. It might be a case of it's a new system. You know, he's not played in this specific role before. It's a new, interesting little vibe, and maybe he's just having to learn it a bit, because he's probably finding himself in spaces that he's not normally finding himself in. He's not quite a centre back. He's not quite a full back. It's kind of a new role. Some of the passes are going a bit awry, and he's not sure whether to go forward, to commit, or to stay. He's probably learning. I'm going to give him a 6, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I think it is. Possibly it's just down to the way we're trying to play, and we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Well, I'm going with a 5 for Dan Burn. I thought that was one of his poorest games I've seen in a Newcastle shirt, to be honest. Listen, one thing you can never deny with Dan Burn is the effort he puts in, and he's 100% committed. I don't have any issue with that. He had an off day for me, and players are going to have off days. There's, they're not going to be, absolutely spot on 9-10s every single week. I just think Dan Burn had a bad day at the office, and but will recover. He's a good player, and I don't have any worries about him. But I just don't think he was at it on Saturday, so he gets a 5 from me. Billy Bob.
Yeah, I just want to make a point about this handball rule, because it's pathetic. It's ridiculous.
Well,
the lawmakers need to get together now and stop this, because there's no way on God's earth that Dan Burn deliberately handled that ball in the area. I don't give a shit about natural positions and what have you. You can't jump without having your hands in the air. It's as simple as that.
I think he mistimed. If anything, Billy, I think he mistimed his jump, though. Do you not think? Because he was on the way back down.
He may well have done, but he wasn't facing the ball when it hit him. How did he know it was going to hit him? So to me, it's not a deliberate handball. It's not a free kick anywhere else on the pitch.
Yeah,
it's just when the cameras look at it again, you get a penalty for it. It's pathetic. Yeah, I wouldn't fault him for that. Serious to God, he didn't mean to do it. It was an accidental handball. It was ball to hand. In the old days, that would never been a penalty in a month of Sundays, and it's a shit law. They need to change it now.
It is. I mean, they'll hopefully have a look at it in the summer.
Well, ultimately, people score what? Is it 70? I think it's 78% of penalties go in.
Yeah.
And ultimately, when you're given penalties for positions like that, when somebody gets tripped over at the edge of the box facing away from the goal and they get a penalty for it, you've got to. It is in the next couple of seasons. I'm adamant that they're going to have a look at changing penalties, because you've got to take into consideration the value of that chance, whether it would be a goal. It's unfair if you like that. If Dan Burn hadn't have handled that, what are the odds on that going in the net anyway?
It's different for foul, because you do get a foul. You would get a foul for someone facing the wrong way on the pitch anywhere else on the pitch. That handball would not have been a free kick anywhere on the pitch.
Well, the thing is, as the rules stand now, it
was
was a handball, and
Yes,
it's the rules that stink, to be honest. But we can go. Yes. We can talk
penalties.
About that
penalties go in 78% of the time, whereas you've got somebody in a low value position winning a penalty for it. It does definitely need looking at.
But while that's a penalty, then so is the Gabriel one yesterday for Arsenal.
Oh yeah, 100%. But that's where the inconsistency is, Billy. It's a very, very similar incident. Gabriel is stretching out his left foot to block. So his arm's naturally going to come out. You can't keep your arm by your side when you're in that sort of position. So and I think yesterday, maybe that was the right decision not to give the penalty, because it wasn't. But there's no consistency, and that's what they've got to have. Roy says, my 5 for Dan Burn has nothing to do with the penalty. He was just having a bad day at the office. That's the same with me. I'm not counting the penalty towards his score. So what are you going to score him, Billy?
I'm going to give him a 6 purely because of the way he helped Bruno win the ball off Hickey for the goal. Yeah. So that kind of bumps him up a point. But yeah, he wasn't great Saturday. But like you say, he puts 120% effort in every single week, so we can't criticise him for having one bad day.
I still think it's worth throwing in that we are trying a new system as well.
Yeah, yeah.
He might be learning that. It is a funny role he's in at the moment.
Absolutely. Okay, we move on to the centre-backs now, and we'll start with you, Billy, with Fabian Schär.
It was hardly noticed, really, was he? Let's be honest. I mean, he gets kind of overshadowed by the people around him, but he's always solid every week. He's an 8 out of 10 for me Saturday because I thought he handled Tony and Boomer really well, except for the goal aside, which was obviously offside. But I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10 because I thought he was solid as a rock Saturday.
Okay. I'm going to give him a 7 because I thought he made a couple of ricks in the second half. But like I say, he recovered them. But he may not have against maybe quicker and better opposition. I don't know. But he made a couple of ricks. But look, Cher is always 7, 8, 9, 10. You know, he is just that. He's one of my favourite players, to be honest, and has been for a long time. I just love watching him defend. I think he puts his body on the line week in, week out, and that will never be debated for me. But for me, he was a 7. Alex?
I'm going to give him an 8. I think he deserves a little bit more than that. You know, ultimately, this is a guy that we signed for £3.6 million, who is now looking comfortable in a back four. Who previous managers said he wasn't good enough to play in a back four. He definitely is. In a back four that's trying to challenge at the top end of the table. And he was just I think he's brilliant. I don't think he did anything wrong. He goes to sleep a little bit, but you know, his positioning, his long balls. I mean, he made 5 clearances. He does the dirty stuff. He's always aware positionally. I don't think he contributed too much to any specific attacks, but it's just, I mean, he found himself on the right wing a couple of times, which was hilarious. Yeah. He's just so, he's so much more intelligent than people give him credit for. And I definitely think he was a striker in his previous life. There's
well, he's got that one in the first half when he danced down the right-hand side, he whipped a hell of a cross in.
Yeah, he did.
So, yeah.
I'll tell you what we don't say now. We're Cher and Botman playing together. And it's something we always used to say. Every time we had, whether it be Lascelles and Clark or whoever, Cher may have been involved. But we never say this now. We are defending too deep. We don't. We defend
absolutely
20 yards with the pitch.
Well, that's why I want to give him an 8 because it's hard to score what he does, but he's the reason we can have high possession. Him and Botman doing that is the reason we can play the way we are, and it's the reason Miggy and all the people up the pitch get to do what they do is because it starts at the centre backs and with the goalkeeper and stuff like that. It's so understated how important it is.
Well, again, in the chat, it's 7s and 8s, so we're around where the viewers think as well. Now on to the other centre back, and Alex, we'll start with you with this one, Mr. Botman.
He gets an 8 as well. I mean, arguably he had a slightly better afternoon than Cher, but we can't give halves. So if I could, I'd have given him. I don't think he was I think he was a 9, but I think he was marginally better than Cher. But I'll keep it as an 8. Just physical dominance, passing. He's playing like a PK centre back, and he's not. He's still a child, and it's mental how good he is. He's just incredible.
It is. Billy?
Yeah, I'll go with an 8. I did notice him lose a couple of aerial battles, which I was surprised to see, given that he hadn't lost one before Saturday. But yeah, he's just a Rolls Royce, and the talent that lad's got on his both feet with the passing ability is just immense. God, he's going to be something special for us. He really is. And 8 out of 10 is a fair score for him, I think. Yeah,
I'll go with an 8 as well, similar to what you guys have already said. So Botman gets an 8. We move into midfield now, and we go with Sean Longstaff. And we'll start with you, Billy.
Yes, I thought he did a great workman-like performance. Covered, got all over the pitch also, very mobile, which is something we've accused him of not being in the past. 7 out of 10 for me, for sure.
7. Alex?
I'll give him a 7. I think he was okay. 2 out of 9 ground duels. He gave away 3 fouls that he didn't need to. But generally, it might just be, you know, he's playing a slightly different role because Willick's moved over to the left. Longstaff found himself out on the right and doing wide cover a couple of times, trying to link it with Miggy, and he's not really used to that. So he was in a slightly different position than he's normally found in, and obviously had to drop and change. I don't know. Okay. I want to give halves, but I'll give him a 7. It wasn't his best performance, but he's useful and he's doing his part.
Well, I've got a 6 down for Longstaff. And I just think there was a few times in that match that we were driving forward and it comes to Longstaff and he just slows it up. He goes sideways or he goes backwards again. And we know we've had this problem with Sean for a long time with going backwards. I think with Sean, he just needs that little confidence boost to burst forward and maybe have his shot and fly in the top corner or something, and just prove that, because the times that he does get forward, he does create problems. But I think sometimes he's not on the same wavelength as the other guys, and the move breaks down. And that's why I think, certainly for midfield for me, Joe Linton is always going to be the better option. Now, and that's what I think Eddie will go with on Saturday. On Sunday. It's nothing against Sean. I just think he's just, for me, he just needs that bit of confidence. Maybe like a Miggy has, just to get a bit more confidence and get a goal or something, just to spark him into life again. But he wasn't bad. He didn't have a bad game. He was just for me just average, but or average to good. Certainly not just average. Rochi says the Van der Beek rumours are starting to come in again. Yeah, I've seen that today. I don't see any what he would do or improve our midfield. I think his career's gone backwards. Man United have really rocked him. I think he needs to go somewhere where he'll get regular first team football. I don't think he'll get it here. I think he needs to go somewhere where he's going to be one of the main men and get his confidence back, and then see what happens.
Netherlands, probably.
Yeah,
maybe
so.
You could enjoy it more.
Right, we move on to Joseph Willick, and I'm giving Joe Willick a 9. I thought he was just brilliant on Saturday. I really do. His touches, his link up with the front guys, his drive, his determination. I thought he was excellent, and I really didn't have a problem with Joe on Saturday. And it was, and it's great to see, because he is also getting in Eddie Howe's head, saying, right, when we have a fully fit side, I want to be on that team sheet. And I think he's doing nothing to stop Eddie Howe having a headache about it. I think he's performing really well. So he gets a 9. Billy?
Yeah, 9 for me too. I mean, the lad's got so much talent in his feet. It's unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
And he's mobile. He looks languid, but he isn't. He's quick. He's really quick, in fact. He's got strength with him when he runs. He can go from one end of the pitch to those we saw against Fulham last season when he scored.
Yeah,
the lad's got everything, and all he needs is a goal, and the goal will start coming again also. So
yeah,
I think it's on its way. I think he may well score Sunday, but the touches he showed Saturday were, some of it was Platini-esque.
Yeah.
Some of it,
and he's getting the ball and driving forward, which I love to see with players. Roy, you know the rules on this channel. You can't give halves, so you can take your 8.5 and shove it where the sun don't shine, matey. It's either an 8 or a 9. You decide.
But you can see in the way Willick's playing that he's enjoying his football at the minute, and when he's enjoying his football, he's a totally different kettle of fish to the one that isn't, that we had with Steve Bruce last season.
Yeah. Alex?
See, I'm going to give him an 8. I don't think his performance quite justifies a 9. Not to say he didn't have a good game, but if you look at the stats, no assists, no goals, no key passes, he didn't connect with any crosses. But I agree with everything else you both said. Energetic, everything technical that he's trying is coming off. He looks confident. He's driving with the boys. He's doing proper box-to-box stuff now. He's really flourishing as a box-to-box midfielder. And I've previously said I wanted a better player in ahead of him to mentor, and him maybe not being the starting box-to-box, but playing such regular football is obviously doing him the world of good. He's getting so much experience. I mean, he's only 23 years old, and he's got a lot of Premier League experience now. Let's be honest. For his age, he's played a lot of Premier League games. And it is starting to show. And I do think just one more goal, and he should give him a bit more confidence in terms of his finishing. But I agree with everything you've said, but I think a 9's a bit steep. I'm going to go with an 8.
Okay. Right. We move on to Bruno. This shouldn't take very long. 10 for me. Billy?
11. It was absolutely fantastic.
Alex?
Yeah, it's got to be a 10. It's the fact he's doing the job of a defensive midfielder and a striker at the same time, scoring 2 goals, and contributed. What was it? Was it 4 or 5 tackles? Just an absolute ton of ground jewels. He's a monster. He's a metronome for the side, as well as a ball-winning midfielder.
Alex, I can't agree with you keep saying metronome, mate, because I think of those stupid gnomes at the Metro Centre that will be performing for. With Christmas,
he just stands and keeps the ball ticking out. He does.
Look,
he ticks 3 or 4 boxes. It's crazy.
when you that's why you pay your money to watch players like him. He's just exceptional.
When he first came, I think it was one of the first shows I ever did when I came onto the channel. I said he was the most all-round midfielder.
You did. I remember you saying,
we've had.
Yeah,
I'll go further than that now.
Your exact words were, "I'm putting myself out there. This guy is probably." And then you went into
for
that,
a midfielder to score 2 goals. Normally we wouldn't give a 10, but it's the fact that it's a midfielder that scored 2 goals, but he's also doing a defensive midfielder's job at the same time.
Exactly that.
He's just doing so much. It's so.
I want to go a little bit further than that now. I think he's as a defensive midfielder, he's better than anything we've seen before. And as a passing midfielder, he's better than anything we've seen before. It's just, I mean, the goals are coming as well, so you can't even criticise him for that.
Can you imagine him playing alongside Johan Cabaye?
Yes, absolutely.
What a pairing! I mean,
absolutely.
I know Tiote was. Don't get me wrong, rest his soul. But to see Cabaye alongside Bruno would be incredible, because Cabaye was one of my favourite ever midfielders. He had incredible talent. But this guy, I think, can take it to the next level, and that's high praise coming from me. Believe me, because I'm a massive fan of Cabaye. So I can't wait to see where Bruno develops to. Right, we move on to the front three, and we'll start with Jacob Murphy, and I'm going to give him an 8. I thought Jacob Murphy played really, really well. And listen, I've been hammering him for recent weeks, as people know. But just the last couple of games, I've seen a real change in Murphy. And look, he got forward. He was putting crosses in, which we've been shouting for weeks and weeks and weeks. He was crossing with his left foot, his right foot, and he scored a goal. Listen, he pressed really well. And I just think he deserves an 8. Billy?
I want to give him a 9.
Right.
All the things you've said, but a goal on top of that as well. The press was fantastic. The time he went past Aaron Hickey on the left, I never think he had a hoop in hell of running past him, but he did. And not only that, he whipped in a fantastic cross with his left foot. The lad had a great game, and it's going to be harsh on him to be dropped, which he surely will be Sunday. But he's been a fantastic replacement for Maxi the past 2 weeks.
Yeah. Alex?
Yeah, I think he deserves a 9. I think he deserves a one higher than Willick, because he got the goal. I mean, he didn't actually connect with any of those crosses. He was 0 for 4, but the quality of the crosses were there. They were so much better than in previous weeks. They were in such more dangerous areas, and he was just far more switched on. He earned that goal. He earned the right to score that. He deserved Wilson to pass it back to him, because he built that himself from the press. Just a much better performance. He obviously got substituted off, but for the time he did play, it was immense. It was much better from him. Hopefully we can get, he doesn't have to do that every week, but he doesn't have to score every week. But if he can do that in terms of just general performance, in terms of the system and helping, that's what we need. It will help a lot.
Okay. A lot of people agreeing with 8s and 9s in the chat. Josh says, I totally agree. I've been the leader of the Murphy Haters Club, but this game weekend he was an 8 or 9. Interesting. Somebody asking if we think there'll be any changes for the Man United game. I think there will. I think he'll start Maxi. But again, we'll see. We'll come to that later on in the week when we do our preview. Right, we move into the right-hand side now, and we go with Miggy, and I'm giving him a 9. I thought he was immense. Simply immense. Just brilliant. Brilliant to watch. Brilliant effort. But I can't give him the same level as Bruno, because Bruno was just that step above. But he gets a 9. Alex?
Yeah, it's got to be a 9. It's got to be a 9. He's just so confident. He looks slightly, I don't want to say fitter, that's the wrong word, but he looks nippier. Is close control and moving with the ball. Similarly to how Maxi does it, he looks like he's got a tiny bit more pace. He's just sort of drifting left and right across the box, and he just seems so fast. He's always beating his man, like Billy described earlier. He went around the side of Henry when he got shown outside. He's just so much switched on. The shots on target that he's getting week in, week out are phenomenal. And the pressing for the goal, and the way he presses, the way he comes back to help Trippier as well. It's got to be a 9. Just absolutely incredible.
Billy?
Yeah, I think 9's a fair score for him. It's not far behind Bruno, but not quite at that level. I think his timing his press is better now than what he was before. Also, he's doing it at the right times, and he's intelligent as well. He's not only got the technique and all the skills in the world, but he's intelligent with it. And 9 out of 10. I thought it was fantastic Saturday again.
Okay. And we'll finish with Callum Wilson. And Billy, we'll start with you on Callum.
I'll give him a 7. The chances didn't fall for him, but he did all the spade work, which helped his wingers in the end. 7 out of 10, purely because he didn't score really. Had he scored, it'd have been 8 or 9, but 7 for him.
Yeah. I'll go with 7 as well. I think that's a fair score for Callum. Again, good running, but he didn't really get many goal scoring opportunities, I think, on Saturday. But for me, a 7. Alex?
Yeah, I'm going to give him a 7, but I think it's a harsh 7. I think he deserves a little bit more, but he's not quite an 8. So a positive 7, a 7 plus, because he got the assist for Murphy. He was part of that move in occupying the 2 defenders. You know, he got 3 key passes. He was integral in. We got so much value out of the wingers because of a lot of Wilson's work. And I think he had a good game. I feel like 7 is a bit harsh on his performance. I can't give him any higher than that, but he did. It was a good day for him. He doesn't have to score to contribute to the team. I think he did a good job.
But he really wants to, though. That's the thing.
He does.
Right, we're not going to score the 3 players that came on towards the end because they weren't really on long enough.
I'd want to give Maxi an 8.
But Joe Linton and Maxi were going to score.
So came on for 66 minutes for Murphy.
Yeah.
And then it was Maxi, wasn't it? After that,
Maxi came on for Bruno at 78 minutes.
Yeah, so we'll give them 2 ratings.
And then the last 3 only played 5 minutes.
Yeah. So Joe Linton, Billy?
For the 20-odd minutes he was on, I thought it was really good, really positive. Lots of great running again. Or everything we love about Joe Linton, he gave us in that 20 minutes. But because it was only 20 minutes, I can't give any higher than a 7. But for those 20 minutes, he was. If it had maintained that performance over 90 minutes, you're looking at an 8 or a 9. But 7 just surely is on for 20 minutes.
Yeah, I'll give him a 7 as well. Straightforward, exactly what you've said, Billy. Alex?
Yeah, same reasons. Interested to see him on left wing. He did it against Norwich last year, so be interesting to see if we get to see him in a more attacking role at some point. But he's probably just going to slot back straight into midfield.
Maxi, I'm going to give him a 7 because I know he did brilliantly when he came on with that pass. It was a superb pass. But if I'm giving Joe Linton a 7 and he created a goal with that cross, then for the pass, I'm also going down the same line. A 7 for me. Billy?
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. I was going to give him an 8, but I thought about it. He was only on for like 12 minutes.
Yeah.
But those 12 minutes were electric, I've got to say.
Mind you, it looked like the Mummy Returns when he was warming up. Bloody hell. The bandages, man. Unbelievable.
I was sat next to a few Maxi haters, actually. They were both, as soon as he got on the ball and started dribbling, they were like, oh, here he goes. He's not going to pass the ball. And I don't know what people's problem is. There's a lot certain people out there that just can't stand him. And I don't know why.
You'll always get them. You'll always get them.
But you've got to feel for poor Alan Hickey, who's had all day been.
What a torrid afternoon he had.
From Jacob Murphy, then Maxi comes on and tears him an even bigger one. It was a phenomenal 12 minutes to play. Really was.
And remember, we were linked. His name was linked with us earlier in the transfer window because I think we did a transfer show and he was mentioned.
We did. I mean,
he was somebody we looked at.
He is a good player. He just didn't look very good for Brentford on Saturday, unfortunately.
Yeah. So we're not scoring the other 3 that weren't on long enough. And of course, now it's Edward Howe. Alex.
I'm going to go for a 10. Purely because I was having this conversation today. At the start of the season, we all went, Matty Targett's left back. Definitely Matty Targett's going to be left back. For the season, Matty Targett left back. It's not. He's completely switched the system around to try something interesting and modern, pushing Trippier into midfield. What he's currently getting out of Murphy in the last few weeks as well. The changes to the corner routines, which got us a goal. That's all training ground stuff. Yep. So much of it was down to Eddie Howe and the coaching staff. And I feel like it's for the coaching staff as well. And I feel like he's managing injuries correctly. He's not rushing players back. Just everything is just so fine detailed. He just puts a comb through every possible scenario. It's just so detailed, and it's got to be a 10 for me. Yeah,
I'm going with a 10 as well, simply because, as well, he didn't change the team. He's obviously worked that starting 11 again during the week, ready to go. Now, whether that's because he's resting Joe Linton and Maxi for the bigger team, so to speak, with the Man United game coming up, Everton coming up, and we all know how much we want to beat Everton. So I just think, he's got everybody buzzing. He seems to have an incredible team morale in that dressing room, and it's just great to see at the minute. Billy?
I don't see how you can give anything less than a 10. The last weekend we all criticised, questioned his starting lineup. We didn't know what the score was with it, and they went out and performed fantastically, and he didn't change it this week. And to not change and bring those big players back in straight away was a brave call, but a one that worked tenfold. So yeah, and like you say, the planned corner, which obviously worked on in training, was just fantastic the way it came off.
It was.
Can't give anything less than a 10.
Super. Well, there you go, guys. That is the player ratings for the Brentford game. Looking at the chat, there's a lot of people agreeing. Not really too far away with our player score. And so that is it for the review show. Thank you very much to everybody that's joined in tonight in the chat. Thank you to everyone that's donated on Super Chat. Really, really do appreciate that. And obviously just taking part. Thank you to everyone that's subscribed, etc. We really, really do appreciate it. But don't forget, guys, to hit that like button before you leave us tonight, just to help bump us up and let YouTube know that something incredibly amazing is happening on this channel with incredibly amazing subscribers and viewers. It does boost us up there. So thank you very much for doing that in advance. If you have enjoyed the show tonight, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, which, as usual, is free to do so. And also the notification bell, which will let you know when we upload or we go live. The next live show will be tomorrow night with me and Billy Bob. It'll be the Fan Forum, and that kicks off at 8:30. So don't forget to join us for that one. And if you want, get on, have your say. We'll talk about the Brentford game with you, and also the build-up to the Manchester United game on Sunday. There's no Howie the Lashes show on Wednesday, simply because the Lasses are actually playing. So I might be going to that one, and hopefully we'll get Charlotte Potts on the week after as well. So that she should be a great guest to have on. Thursday night is, of course, the match preview, and Friday night is, of course, TTR Friday. How can anyone forget that? It was a brilliant show on Friday, and we're looking forward to getting cracking with more shenanigans on Friday night. But until then, do join us on the Fan Forum tomorrow night. If you don't want to come on, please take part in the show in the live comments as per usual. It'd be great to see a load of viewers in again, as there has been tonight. Thank you, Alex and Billy, and thank you to the Mod Squad, and we will see you at 8:30 tomorrow night. In the meantime, good night.
Away the lads and lasses.